I wanted to take a moment to just sort of go through why dog parks are just not teaching your dog the thing that you think that they're teaching them. So let's talk a little bit about like what happens at the dog park, right? So you get your dog out of the car, you get him to the dog park, you take him off leash, and then they run around and play until they are totally tired out. And then you just hook them back up, and then you get, a couple hours of peace and quiet. They sleep through the night well, and then potentially you're doing it all over again the next day. So what actually happens, and I challenge you guys to, next time you go to the dog park, take notice of some of these things. Are you able to walk your dog from the car to the gate of the dog park on a loose leash? I'd be willing to bet that most of you guys would be like, no, my dog is actually pulling me right to the gate. And then let's say you ask your dog to sit before you take the leash off when you're in the dog park. Do you ask them once and they immediately sit? Or is this more a case of you have to ask and ask and ask, and sometimes they don't sit because their mind is so totally elsewhere? Okay, and then so now they're off leash. Do they stay around you in that first 30 or 40 seconds? Do they like stay around you and they're watching the rest of the dogs and they're sort of calm? Or do you unhook the leash and then they immediately are freedom, and they go on their own merry way, and they are playing with other dog friends like immediately? So in this pattern, from the instant you get out of the car, there's no connection between yourself and your dog. They can't walk on a loose leash, which means they don't really care that there's somebody at the end of their leash. And unfortunately, this will translate to your loose leash walking elsewhere as well. So if your dog is pulling you in this situation, they're very much likely to be pulling you in other situations as well, because they've learned that pulling gets them what they want. So leash pulling is a huge thing that I see with dogs who are frequent dog park visitors. Another thing that I see is that there can be a hyperness and overexcitement and just an attitude around other dogs where your dog cannot focus on you at all. Their focus, if they do, is very short. Like they'll look at you and then they have to whip their head away and look at the other dog. What are the other dogs doing? Is someone coming? Is someone going? What's happening over there? Are they playing? Can I play? Can I get off the leash yet? They might be whining. Your dog might be doing like tippy taps. They might be doing like they're lip licking and they just can't contain themselves. And of course, you're trying to get the leash off as fast as you can, but your dog is unable to contain themselves. And in that state of mind where they're reacting with excitement and perhaps too much excitement, they're then rewarded for that state of mind. That lack of control in them is rewarded because they're taken off leash and they get to go do what they get to go do with no repercussions. And another thing that I wanted to talk about that your dog is practicing in the dog park is really bad social behavior. So in a normal dog greeting, when two dogs meet each other, it is not a face-to-face like beeline into each other ever. That's very, very rude, and that actually starts many dog fights. It's very intimidating, very confrontational. But if you go to the dog park, watch how many dog greetings there are and count. I challenge you to count the ones that are not straight in, face-to-face type greetings. See if you can see any other greetings that did not begin with a beeline at full speed, or even just a beeline at a trot or a walk. That beelining and going right over to the other dog, very impolite. We don't see that in polite dog culture, but it's practiced everywhere in the dog park where we have a mess of overexcitement and hyper awareness of other dogs, and also hyper arousal. The dogs will practice things that are very rude. They're going to learn it from the other dogs as well. And the culture of the dog park just is one of, I get to do whatever I want. My owners can't catch me because I'm too fast. And if I get into trouble, if I get into a pickle in a situation that I don't know what to do, or in a situation that makes me nervous, I have to deal with that myself. Because my owners aren't here to support me. My owners are over there. There's no help. So along with those poor greetings, we also see issues occur where dogs, they do get into those situations that they don't want to be in. Maybe they were too intimidated by another dog who was bigger, or maybe the dog got too close in their space, or maybe that dog just did something that was intimidating to your dog. You're not there. Like, you're there, but you're way too far away to even notice that event has happened. And then now your dog is also going to learn that, hey, I gotta rely on myself. And the problem with this is, when we're on leash, when we're having a nice walk with our dog, or we want to go hiking or whatever, your dog doesn't have to rely on just themselves. They should be looking to you. There should be that connection. There should be communication back and forth while you guys are on your walk, while you guys are working together as a team. The dog park completely severs all of those connections, utterly, totally removes them from the scenario. And so, as a place to take your dog, I can't even, this whole time, I'm trying to think of something positive about dog parks for the dog. And I can't think of anything that would be something that we want. And on a slight side note, sometimes people think, oh, well, my dog, they need to go play with other dogs. They need to go do this and they need to go do that. Well, you're part of their family. You're part of their team. Why can't they play with you? Why can't they do something fun with you? Why can't they do something active with you, right? Like, those are options. So there's definitely more options out there than just going to the dog park. And the options that are out there that aren't the dog park, most of the time, they are way better options than the dog park. Because there's just so much, I could keep going with the things that the dog park is teaching your dog, or the things that are going to make your life more difficult because of the dog park. I could keep going, but I'm not, because I feel like that would be probably an hour-long video. It's literally, there are that many things, and probably more that I don't even haven't considered yet. But really, as a place to take your dog, they're not practicing life skills that we want them to have and that we need them to have in polite society. So really, as I've said, there's plenty of other places to take your dog, and that's a topic for another video. I hope you guys got some info out of this one, and I hope that it has helped you learn a little bit about potentially why you're seeing some of these things in your dog who's a dog park frequenter.